it comes with the claws. We get some saber-tooth action in Daredevil here. And it's really interesting. This is Ann Nocenti's Daredevil, and Ann Nocenti came right after Frank Miller. And this is just the start of her run. Very different than Frank Miller, but I honestly found I enjoyed it a little bit more. And I know that's like sacrilege to a lot of people, but I'm really sick of the like Kingpin long arc thing. And I know that he was the first to do it, and so it's different. But like I thought that this had a lot more just superhero fun to it and wackiness to it. Now, it actually starts without Ann Nocenti on here. Steve Ditko does 2 issues, which he pencils, and it's written by Mark Grunwald in the first one. The second one's written by somebody else I'll get through. Klaus Janson actually inks Ditko, and this is a very like indie Ditko-esque character called Madcap. And this guy's kind of crazy, and he's going out there, and he's kind of a anti-hero hero, killing at mobsters and things like that. And mobsters have trouble. It's like Steve Ditko is doing his own indie book and just kind of threw Daredevil in it. It's kind of an odd situation here, but I love that. That makes me happy. It's a big Ditko fan. Just enjoyed. Look at just like the action sequences that Ditko does. There's nobody else like him in all of comics, and you can just see his stuff right away. It gets as he goes along. The second Ditko story is actually just a Mr. Hyde story. So Ditko covers that old character. Now, Ditko had like a rule to Marvel, like, I'm not going to do any of the Spider-Man characters I created. I'll do anything but that. And he would do these issues. This one was pretty standard fare. And then it gets into Ann Nocenti's run. Now, Ann Nocenti's run starts like, I mean, a lot of this art like really develops. You see this like kind of 80s style here with just the coloring and everything. You got Barry Windsor Smith doing this for this issue. And this is really interesting stuff. This is a kid who's like worried about nuclear bombs as Daredevil's fighting right here. And this has a lot to do with like the Red Scare in the 80s. And so interesting stuff as Daredevil fights this guy. And then as it goes along, here's our Sabretooth issue. Ann Nocenti just has Daredevil go up against just random different people. And Matt Murdoch is like flipping burgers at this point. Him and Karen are living together. She's back, and she's starting like a clinic for like underprivileged people. And of course, Matt Murdoch gets embroiled in that later in this run. And that's kind of where they're at with this. Foggy Nelson's like not even a part of the book very much. And eventually, Matt starts giving some legal advice through this clinic here. And that comes back to bite him as they try to shut down that clinic and shut him out of things for practicing law without a license, as his license has been taken away prior to this. Now, there's all sorts of like random supervillains here. You see one right here. And Ann Nocenti does actually reference the Kingpin stuff as before. He's kind of in the background of a little bit of stuff here. This is one where there's a guy from Wakanda actually fighting and trying to struggle for his family here and trying to be his own man, but kind of just failing and doing the wrong thing. So there's a lot of like interpersonal stuff that's really cool, which I really enjoy. Even the background characters like have a lot of personality in Ann Nocenti's run here. And then Daredevil, of course, has a lot of his own personal stuff with Karen in this deal going on. Now, eventually, like you see Wolverine ends up teaming up here. Black Widow's teaming up here. There's a lot of Black Widow elements here where Black Widow is working with the government for these like psychological programs. And, and the first one, a guy actually offs himself in it in like some sort of psychological deal. And then Daredevil's like, are you sure you want to work with these people? But they end up facing off against people who've been altered by the government and screwed by the government too. So interesting stories through this stuff. That are very different and very unique. I kind of like that MK Ultra sort of deal that they have through this series. Now, like I said, a lot of one-offs, and towards the end, it actually builds up to that legal climax where Daredevil's helping the people, which is kind of nice, and I enjoy it. And a lot of different artists through it, Ann Nocenti for a while like seems to have different artists almost on every book. It stabilizes for a while. But it does shift around a lot, but the art style still like feels like that Marvel House style 80s for the most part. And so it's not a big jarring deal. And the colors kind of remain that muted 80s style, which kind of give it a noir feel, which is nice. And so I like this a ton. This has been a lot of fun for me, and I've enjoyed this Daredevil run immensely. I call this a 9 out of 10, and good spot for reading. And you could start reading here too and not lose anything, I don't think, either, which is a good spot always for comics. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.